I want to talk to you a little bit today about what you can do as you prepare for an Hi, I'm Teresa Clark, and I am a seasoned CPA with over 25 years of experience serving 501c3 nonprofits. I've done that internally as the CFO and externally as the auditor, and I bring my passion for ministry and a unique perspective to your financial journey. To learn more, jump on my website, teresaclark.com. One of my favorite people in the whole world is the founder of the school that my children attend. It's Trinity Christian School. And when she founded this organization over 48 years ago, she was way beyond her times. She saw an opportunity to create a parenting school that was built on the foundational beliefs of kingdom education. Well, one of her guiding principles was something I want to talk to you about today, which is inspect what you expect. When I think of this simple statement, inspect what you expect, I think about how important it is for nonprofits to have an audit. An audit, which in this term that when we're using it is the term as a financial statement audit by an independent CPA, is one that can ensure transparency and accountability and can be used to create some opportunities for financial health. I want to talk to you a little bit today about what you can do as you prepare for an audit. Number one, I want to remind you to prepare thoroughly. Ensure that all your financial records and documents, receipts, and invoices are organized and accessible. Maintain clear financial policies and procedures. Make sure that what you say is happening is actually happening. So update those policies. Next, I want to talk to you about how to engage an experienced auditor. You want to choose a CPA firm, an auditor with nonprofit experiences. Trust me, I've seen what it looks like when they don't have nonprofit expertise. The report is not valuable. It does not provide the insight. It's really not even in compliance with what the auditing standards say, and it's really going to be, at that point, a waste of money. So definitely it's worth it to pay the money necessary to get a nonprofit auditor with that specialty in your engaged with you and working on your audit. Let's talk about internal controls. Well, it's not the auditor's job. So, contrary to what it sounds like, an audit firm does not come into your nonprofit to audit your internal controls. Now, they have to assess them, which means they need to know enough about what they are and whether or not they could be working to design their audit procedures. So, if you have zero internal controls, they're going to have to do more test work and really have a lower level of reliance on what they've provided. Can even impact their ability to provide an audit opinion that is what we call clean regarding whether or not you can rely on the financials. So it's your job as a nonprofit leader to make sure there are internal controls, that they're in place, and that you are mitigating the risks that you had for fraud and errors. The stronger your internal controls, the more likely the auditor can rely on them and their procedures can look different as well, which can ultimately translate to the fee that they might charge you for the work. You want to be reviewing your internal controls regularly. Just because you have them doesn't mean they're working. So again, as my great friend would say, inspect what you expect. Number four, let's talk about transparency. An audit really does create an opportunity to just to have a relationship with a professional that can create transparency in the financial transactions of your nonprofit. You want to make sure that you communicate often with your auditor, that the lines of communication are open and really go two ways. And one of the ways I like to use an audit relationship is that call throughout the year if I'm addressing something that has a unique estimate or maybe has an accounting entry that I don't normally record. I'm going to reach out to the auditor. I'm going to share with them what I'm thinking, share with them what I'm proposing, and get their feedback on that. So they're definitely a trusted partner with you in that transparency process. Okay, number five, as you prepare for your audit, look to your auditors. They should give you a list of the required schedules and detail work that you should prepare. You want to use that as a guide. And as we talked about earlier, you also want to dive into your internal review of your processes and your financial statement reports to make sure you've identified anything in advance of the audit beginning. One of the ways I can do this is I like to do it with a prior year, current year comparison very often things will stick out there, as well as your budget to actuals can help you to see if there's anything that maybe needs to be resolved before your audit begins. Number six, you want to understand and implement their recommendations. Auditors are going to provide recommendations in two types, formal and informal. Well, you want to take those as you go and realize that they are very much nuggets of truth to help you improve as an organization. So you want to address any weaknesses or areas for improvement that are identified by your auditor throughout the process. And as we talked about before, engage them in the conversation. Maybe there's something in your organization that you've kind of wondered, is this the best way to do this? Asking them that question is a very good thing. I'll pause to say now, if you don't have an audit firm that provides that level of interaction, that may be an indicator that you want to change. Okay, next, let's talk about fostering a culture of compliance. Having an audit actually sends an incredible message to all of your staff, your board, all of those that you have interactions with, your donors as well, that says that financial policies, procedures, and stewardship are incredibly high priority to you. So this is a great time to use that truth of what you've done with an audit to communicate that with your donors and with those that are on your team so that they know you're committed to that culture of accountability. Number eight, you want to report your findings. This could be done in many different ways depending on how your organization's communication rhythms work. It's very valuable to let your stakeholders, including your board of directors, your donors, and any regulatory or granting agencies that you work with, to let them know the status of your audit, to let them know you've achieved a clean opinion or that you've completed your audit for the year. Another person to share that with, I should mention, is your bank or any organization that you have borrowed money from. Very good to share those as well. And then we want to use those results from the audit constructively and sort of strategically. One of the best ways I can tell you to do this is there's a report in your audit that's called the Statement of Functional Expenses. I love this statement because it's probably not the way your internal or your monthly financials are being done. And so what happens is they take all expenses and have to allocate them for the audit between programs, general and administrative, and fundraising. Well, within the program umbrella, you often get things broken out by major programs or by the significant things you do. This can really help you to see what the cost is by program and make some strategic financial decisions based on that. That same statement also presents by line item the type of expense, say office supplies or utilities. And so it gives you a good look at some expenses by their categories, and you can compare them amongst the list to see if there's some opportunities that maybe you want to find some efficiencies in for the new year. Okay, the last thing is that I think having an audit creates a place where you're committed to continuous improvement. It's one place where you can see a snapshot, a financial picture at the same period of time, year after year, giving you an opportunity to celebrate your growth, the challenges that you've overcome, and your commitment to your overall financial health and success. All right, well, as we close here, I want to talk to you a little bit about when should you have an audit? Or maybe you're asking the question, should we be having an audit? Well, as a ministry that's stewarding resources ultimately that belong to God and to the people that have entrusted you with them, I think it's important that we maintain the highest standard that we can. The best guidance, though, that I've received has come from the Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability, which is ECFA. And they say that with all these things considered, it still may not be best to jump into an audit at the very beginning. However, it's important to note that CPA firms can offer a variety of services and they can meet you where you're at. So sometimes it's best, or my pro tip would be to say, maybe you start with a lesser service and you work up to a full audit. Here are some numerical recommendations that I have found from ECFA. If your organization is less than 2 million in annual revenues, you might want to start with a compilation. That's a very low in scope attestation service that a CPA firm can provide. And then as you grow, you might want to, when you cross the $2 million standpoint, start looking at a financial statement review, which is, again, less in scope than an audit, but it begins to really prepare you to be there. And maybe it's around the $3 million level that you should start thinking about whether or not you should have an audit done. I have to mention there could also be some other things that influences your need for an audit. If you receive federal grants in excess of 500,000, if you have governance documents that require you to have an audit, or if maybe there's a requirement within a donor gift or an endowment that's been established, those can be some other reasons that you might want to get ready for an audit. All right, well, I've got some bonus resources. Click on here if you need some more things to get you prepared for this question of an audit in your nonprofit.